Well, good morning everybody. Welcome to another webinar. I do like that intro music. It does get me going first thing in the morning. First of all, can you all hear me and see the screen nice and clear? You should be looking as usual at the Forex Factory calendar. Good morning, Sarah, Marcus, Ashraf. Yep. Excellent. Do you like the intro music? I must say I like it. I actually have to have the mic on mute but play it on my phone just so I can listen to the music. I do like it in the morning. Gets me going. It's like my black coffee. Opens my eyes and gets me ready for the day. Exactly. Gets you pumped for the day, and then I let you down because there is very little out there that I am interested in. I did have something at 5 o'clock this morning, and then the pound rallied, and I have virtually nothing now, guys. So if you do have something, please put it in the chat and let me know, and we will go and take a look at it. Just let you know, this is YouTube live and there is around a 15-second delay, so if you type within the chat, sometimes it may take me a little bit of time to respond, but if you have any questions throughout the chat, something that you disagree with or something that I've missed, or a currency pair you want to look at, just put it in the chat and I will go over it. So the purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at freeforexeducation.co.uk. So in terms of the Forex Factory calendar, we already had the pound news at 9:30. We've got G7 meetings all day, which could move the market or it could not. Apart from that, there's nothing for the rest of the day that I would really be interested in. You do have at 7:15 this evening an FOMC member speaking, but I can't imagine that that's going to create a great deal of movement in the market. So we get rid of that, and I think we will simply crack on with the charts, and I'll do a complete review because there isn't a great deal out there. So we'll start off with the Aussie dollar CAD. Just move that out of the way. Okay, anybody got anything on the Aussie dollar CAD? As usual, we're going to start off on the daily time frame. So I'm going to put a structure level on at the close of the candles at this lowest point, and I'm going to put one on at the wicks. And if we zoom in, then what we have done is we do have a confirmed break below, close below, but only just. And what that means is that if we only just make a new low, then we typically see a deeper retracement. Now I'm just going to draw out the trend here. So we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, and a move lower. So because we only just made a new low, two things we want to be looking out for. One is that it's likely we're going to come back up to the highs, and that's exactly what we've done here. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the wicks. You can see we've come in and tested those, so I would be looking for a last chance entry reason. However, if this is valid for you for trend continuation, this candle yesterday provided you a lovely lower low, lower close candle, and therefore this is a trend continuation setup. You do want to be a bit wary though. I think the Aussie dollar CAD is the lowest it's been for 10 years. We only did just make a low, so if you are selling this now based on the daily lower low, lower close, certainly first targets would be this level right here. Maybe even the close of these candles. I would be conservative with this. Let's go and take a look at the 240 though. 240, last webinar, not last night, the one before, we were looking for, at least I was anyway, I was looking for a double top in this zone. And we fell short. As you can see, this test here failed to come up and test the closes of the candles here, which is a real shame because it came into the price reversal zone. It produced a break below, close below the V point of what would have been our double top, and it would have provided a 2618 entry down to this level. So but it's a no-go, I'm afraid. So it does not meet the rules. So right now there is absolutely nothing here that I'm interested in. I mean, you could, I wouldn't, but you could look at this as trend. It came into structure, you had a move lower, a pullback, then you had another move lower, then a pullback. You could actually drop down another time frame and look for a conservative entry up in this zone. There are actually no wicks just here, so I'm just going to have to put in a structure level. So I'm going to put a structure level in just there. And what do you guys notice up in this level? We've come up to test. Technically we're in trend. It's not very pretty, but technically we are. We've come up to the test this structure level, and what type of formation have we done here, guys? And morning to you if you've just joined us. See, we've had a few more people join us now. There isn't a great deal on the radar, so I'm just going to go through all of my currency pairs. We'll spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes on them each and see if there's any opportunities, because the last review I did was 5 in the morning, and since then everything's been blown out of the water. Rejection candles, 3-bar reversal, exactly Pete, 3-bar reversal up here. So we've had a fairly directional run. We then had a doji followed by a lower, lower, lower close. It happened at the highs of our trend. Move lower, pull back, move lower. Now, is there a problem in taking this trade? What would stop me, or what would I be concerned about if I was to short the market and it's around this area? What would concern me? It's actually a lovely 3-bar reversal because we actually have the RSI confirmation with it as well. We've gone overbought at around 88, and you can see we're pulling back a little bit now. Junky structure. I actually see a double bottom down here, a reversal pattern. Now it's ugly because we only just violated the structure level, but then we put in that double bottom. So in one hand we've come up to our price reversal zone, we've entered ugly trend, we double bottomed, and then we came right up to the highs here, and we've gone overbought at 88, and we put in a lovely 3-bar reversal. So I would expect a short move to the downside, but this double bottom would stop me playing for a complete move lower, at least for initial targets anyway. Let's go and take a look at the 15. See if that gives us any more insight. Maybe like a double top would be a very conservative entry up here. And what am I loving here, guys, on the 15? What have we done here on the 15, just like we did on the 60? It's an ABCD with a double bottom, Ashraf says. Are you looking at this? Yeah. It wouldn't be ABCD, it'd be a harmonic move for me because of this retracement is so big. For me, the ABCD patterns cannot close beyond the 61.8 fib, but yeah, equal measured move into a double bottom and then the retracement. Exactly, Pete. Yeah, gives you, we have a perfect structure hold right at this level. Potential double top here. Let's go and check the RSI, see if we have the confirmation. Wow, 94. Look at that for the RSI. So you've got a more aggressive sell right now on the 60, or you can wait for a more conservative double top on the 15. Now I actually like to see roughly the same number of candles on the left as we do on the right, and we may not get that. So for me, let's still don't have my alerts on here. We're going to monitor and see if we can get price action to come up to this level, hold, maybe as a little bit more confirmation, put in a lower close. But targets are a little bit concerning for me because I'm not too sure where to take them. We could play for a complete move to the downside here, maybe conservative down to this level, maybe even more conservative, a 61.8, which just so happens to come into the structure level here. So no clear defined area to look at taking profits on this trade, but it's a potential. A little bit too aggressive for me, the 3-bar reversal, but it is a nice setup. You know, we're in trend, 3-bar reversal, RSI confirmation. You're getting a lovely reward to risk right now. Anybody else have anything on this currency pair? If it's a no, I'm going to move it to one side, and we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll bring over the next currency pair, which is the Aussie dollar. So we've given back quite a few pips this morning, guys. Those of you that are obviously within the signals, you know about it. Those of you that are not, you don't. We were stopped out on the pound CAD for 39. CAD Swiss yen, I think it was, we were stopped out for 28. We were close to being stopped out on the dollar CAD flag, but we're still in that, and we've put in a couple of lower closes. So only just in profit now for the week, and that's a bit of a sickener because we were up 130 pips on Tuesday, and we just hit a string of losers, and you know, it happens. But we're not in a race, and we will continue following the plan until the plan makes us go back into profit again. So Aussie dollar on the daily, if you have anything, please shout it in, but this is our main swing. We had a move lower, a pullback, I moved lower, we only just made a new low, then what we did is we made a new high. So here on the dailies, this is nothing but consolidation. And what we did do just here is double top. We then broke to the downside and violated this level. Now we've actually come up to the wicks, back up to the wicks, retesting these highs here. So absolutely nothing for me here on the dailies. I'm just going to put a structure level on where this is happening, and the only thing I can look at is this. We had a historical double bottom in the past. Are we likely to see another reaction, considering we've already seen one recently? Well, I doubt it. You know, my bias, and I've got no confirmation of this, but my bias is that we could go long. Swing high to swing low. We do have X to A to B, B to C, CD completion up at the 886, and it looks as though we do have an AB equals CD pattern as well. And again, guys, I had a quick look this morning at the charts, but apart from that, I really don't have much of an idea of what's going on. Or you have an AB equals CD pattern, which actually comes in the middle of nowhere. So if that pattern is valid for you, in a week you might get an entry. Let's go and look at the 240. I'll just remove this pattern off. So what are we doing at the moment, guys? We've had a swing in the market. We've had a fairly directional run, and I love it when we see these directional runs without pullbacks, because typically these offer better opportunities to get involved within trades, and we tend to see things like double tops or flag patterns that get produced. So I do prefer it when we have lovely impulse legs, directional moves without retracing to a 382 or more. This is a double top. Is it? Ooh, I think it might be invalid. No, it's not. Okay, we at that point, let's just double check this. Nope, the RSI is valid. We did go overbought at just over 80 and we have come up right now for a retest. So we do have actually a valid double top here. Now the thing is, in terms of structure, we have this level of structure right here, and as we look left, let me get this right. Yep, okay, we have another test just here, so that's 2. No. Let me go back and redraw this, guys. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to want it on the close of the candles, and we're going to want it on the wicks, and that's going to give us our price reversal zone, and these are the number of touches that we can count between these two lines. So there's 1, that's 2, violation, but that is 3, that is 4, okay, 4 touches at that level. Anything more than 3 is classed as major for me. Let's throw a fib on from our swing high to swing low. Okay, that's a good sign. We didn't come down into a 382, because the 382 is typically a sign of trend continuation. Is anybody looking at shorting the market based on this double top? I do actually have a little retest there as well. Just whether or not this is good enough. Let's go back to the dailies. You know, we've come into the wicks here, so it is a valid double top. We do have multiple tests, but we are in consolidation. I've got no real extra confirmation that this double top is going to be valid. In terms of targets, where could we look for those? Well, if I put a structure level on just here, we have this level, and we've actually come into that area. So that area as well, we've come down to retest the 7,000 level. So this for me is not going to be a trade that I'm going to take. It's just simply not good enough. We've come down into previous structure, we've come down into a psychological number. We have had 3 or 4 tests up here, but it's not at an area where I would be looking at shorting the market. So that's going to be a no-go for me. Is it going to be valid for anyone else? Just give me a yes if it is. We do have an advanced pattern here though on the Aussie dollar. Throw a fib on from our swing high to swing low. We have X to A to B, B to C, CD completion right now at market. We can also look for either an ABCD pattern or harmonic move. And we've put in a lovely doji there, and there's no lower low, lower closes yet. So, but this pattern has hit the 886. Marcus, on my data second test has not come into the wicks on the 4 hour. Right, so it's not going to be valid for you. Let's drop down to the 15, see if this is giving any type of opportunity to get involved. It does look like you've got a potential head and shoulders here, but it's not occurring at structure. That'd be the left shoulder, that'd be the head, this would be the right shoulder. The right shoulder has already closed above the left shoulder, indicating that there's not as much selling pressure in this market as we would like, and that we could still go higher. So no head and shoulders there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wait for the highs to be tested and see if it puts in a rotation pattern. So I'm just going to go ahead here and highlight the wicks, and then I'll drop 1 time frame lower, and we will see if we can get a double top or a rotation pattern up in that zone, and then we'll look for that 382 target. Any questions on the Aussie dollar? Same for you, Ashraf. Yeah, the data is sometimes different from broker to broker. I'll tell you what does sometimes happen to me, and it's very, very annoying, is I will actually be looking at a chart, and let's take this tombstone doji right here. Okay, this is a perfect tombstone doji. This afternoon or tomorrow, that candle could change, and it'll actually show a body quarter of the way up, or you know, it'll show a red candle. It doesn't happen all the time, but I've noticed that when I've got my entry using a specific candle, a few hours later or the day later, it can actually change. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I have, and I don't know why the broker later goes and corrects it. Maybe it's a glitch in the data, maybe they reevaluate it, and I don't know what they do, but that sometimes happens. I did post this into the chat, by the way. It's very, very rare that we see a tombstone doji above the 5 minute. Very, very strong signal to sell. In fact, I was almost ready just to sell the market, but targets were only just down here, so it would have only offered me, well, it would have been less than a 1-to-1. But tombstone doji, I'm actually expecting the market to continue here based off that doji. Very, very powerful stuff. Let's go and take a look at the dailies. Morning, morning, Cody. So you guys know by now, looking to short this market, hundreds and hundreds of pips up for grabs. Just draw it out. This is an initial structure low. We violated that structure level. We pull back. We have now made a new low, and we can look for as a minimum, as an absolute minimum, an AB equals CD pattern. Second targets, to be honest, I'm going to play for 2 targets down to this point as well, if I can get involved in this trade. So those of you that were in the last webinar, or was it the chat, or was it last night? I don't know. The days just rolled into one. I was looking at a first chance entry. So what I did was I dropped down to the 60. And yesterday I was looking at this, we'd come into this zone, we had the RSI confirmation, we'd gone overbought, rubbing my hands together thinking great, we're going to have a double top first chance entry here, and the market came up to retest and held. Now I spoke to Pete about this morning, and this was no longer valid for me because the retracement here actually came into structure, and so it invalidated a double top for me. But look at what we're doing. It does look as though this is going to be a valid double top or a valid retest, but it was just one that didn't meet my rules. And it does look as though that we're coming down to what would have been my first targets, which were just here, and I could have held it then for the continuation. One of those things. Did anybody get involved in this? Would it have been valid for anybody? Because these are just my rules. This retest was just too deep for me. It just, you know, it needs to look like a double top. Okay, that's my opinion. If it's a double top, it needs to look like a double top. And that, to me, the retracement was just too big. Yeah, Marcus, no, the viewpoint was too low. Yeah, and it's a shame, but you know, it happens, and it's the same with missing trades. We missed 2 or 3 winning trades yesterday, and we've taken a few losses today. It's just one of those things. We have to stick to the rules, because another time, I don't know how profitable this setup is, but I know how profitable the first chance entry is based on it being a double top. But this setup, well, I don't actually even see it happen that often, so I can't advise. But let's drop down the time frames. Do we have a pattern here? No. Let's drop down then to the 15. Look at it rally from that tombstone doji. If you've never seen one before, guys, most powerful doji you can get. I was just ready with the gun to sell. Should have done. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Should have done. So we are moving lower. A pullback, move lower. Pullback, move lower. I'm no longer interested in getting involved in the market now until we violate this level down here. So once we've done that, I will then keep looking for trend continuation. Anybody got anything on the Euro Aussie? You could actually, to be honest, there is room here on the 15 for this to go lower, and our bigger projection is lower. We could look for, if we do have a confirmed break below, close below here, we could look for a standard trend continuation day trade. It would be aggressive, but then again, higher time frame, we are looking bearish and we are moving very directionally. So it would be aggressive, but it would be an opportunity to look at. Patrick, where would you take targets? Initial targets, structure lows down here. The trade is on the 15, so I would take targets based on the 15, and then I would hold secondary targets. Well, it depends if this head and shoulders, you're looking for a complete retest of the lows, or you're looking at this structure level just here, or maybe you're looking at this structure level just here, or maybe even this psychological number 15900. Maybe you want to throw some fibs in, like an inversion, and look for a 1618 or a 127. Both of those actually come in at around that 15900 psychological number. So targets are entirely up to you. Secondary targets are those targets that you want to leave and see if you can get the maximum amount of pips out of the market. Your first targets are your conservative targets, where you want to get targets hit, you want to move to break even, you want to bank some profits. But at the same time, you don't want to be too aggressive with your secondary targets, because you do want them to get hit. So we'll keep that on the 15 for a potential short as well, because I do think there is room for the market to come lower here. And we'll move that one to the side then. The next one is the Euro Aussie. Good grief, Euro Yen even. I am still looking at shorting this market. Let's go out to the dailies. I know some of you were looking at a Gartley pattern, I believe, on the lower time frames. But we still have this pattern here, so we've got a swing in the market. We've got a directional move. We've got the market that did adhere to this trend line, and we have now, if we move this lower, we do, I thought we'd actually broken out. We haven't had a confirmed breakout yet because of this wick, but we can hazard a guess here and say that we're going to break out on the daily. If we drop down to the 240, I think we had the breakout already. Yeah, so here on the 240 we've now had the breakout. If you remember last time, I spoke to you about this wick and how I would only be looking for shorting opportunities once we'd violated that wick. The concern now is that we are actually down at this level of structure, which also happens to be the 12100. So in one hand we are having this this potential flag breakout, but we've rallied straight into psychological number and a little bit more structure. So in terms of being aggressive, because this is the lower time frame, we're going to probably need to wait for a bit more confirmation, because this is a huge trade. If we're going to take a look at the 60, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower. So we are in trend. There just doesn't seem to be a great deal here. We do have a pattern. If we throw a fib on from our swing high to swing low, X to A to B, sorry, A to B, B to C, and a CD completion up here-ish. Now that could be used for trend continuation. However, let me just go back to the 60. Right, we can't really see this trade on the 60, and on the 15 I can't actually use it for trend continuation because this right here was the outside return, not this. So in actual fact I can't use that for trend continuation. So I got nothing here on the euro yen either, guys. But can you guys see why I can't use that pattern for trend continuation? Let me just draw it out again. So new low, outside return, new low, outside return. So this is the entire outside return just here. And in order for me to take this pattern to be trend continuation, well, this leg here needed to be down here. It needed to be below this level. Can you see that? So if price had done this and then pulled back to here, the pattern would actually be down here. But that's the difference, so that's why I can't use that for trend continuation. So just watching for the breakout on the euro yen and looking for an opportunity to get involved. We have not had a confirmed break below, close below on the euro Aussie, so no chance of a trend continuation trade just yet. And we're not there yet on the double top for the Aussie dollar CAD. Okay. Euro New Zealand, guys. Do you have anything on the Euro New Zealand? Yep, you understood it, Patrick. Good. Good. Euro New Zealand, here on the dailies. This is not a valid double bottom, by the way, guys, because we did violate this level of structure. And what we have done is we went higher, we saw a pullback, we double topped, we broke to the downside, we saw a pullback, and we're moving lower. So where could we move to? We've got this internal level of structure right here, and we do now have, let's zoom in a little bit, we do now have a confirmed break below, close below. So we are looking at the market coming lower, and now that we've had that confirmation, we could actually see the market rally all the way down to this point. There's no other structure here that would stop me from playing for that extended target. So we had that double top, the break below, the pullback, the move lower. So this is now the outside return. Does everybody agree that this is the outside return? And we can simply wait for a pullback trade and a chance to get short. So let's go ahead here and drop to the 240. And we're going to be looking for our usual things. We're going to be looking for first chance entry up here, second chance entry, this is a huge trade, and the last chance entry up here. On top of that, however, we do have, after this very bearish run, this small outside return just here. So I'm actually going to drop down the time frames and look for shorting opportunities within this level. So as we drop down to the 60, then we have already had the lower low, lower close candle. It was actually this one right here, The problem for me is that my stop needed to be above this level. So just to draw this out, this would have been roughly my risk. And if I wanted to take target ones at a retest of the lows, well, I'd have a really inverse reward to risk. I'd have to play for just a big extension. And I prefer to take, targets at a retest of the lows. So really going to have to wait on this one and see if we get some form of pullback. Now if we see a pattern in here, we throw a fib on. We could say potentially X to A to B, B to C, and a CD completion. Now we could look at a back pattern there for a trend continuation trade. Is that on anybody's radar? I will certainly be looking at it. The problem I have with the Euro New Zealand is even though we don't trade advanced patterns anymore, the Euro New Zealand was a currency pair that was not profitable for me for advanced patterns. So it would be a lower probability trade if we got that back pattern. But if we draw out the trend here on the 60, move lower, pull back, move lower, it actually only came into this internal level of structure. Let's see if it gave anything like a double top here, conservative entry. I'll tell you what I was looking at here, guys, was this head and shoulders. It's ugly, very, very ugly. There's the head. We made an initial structure low here. We saw a pullback. And right now we have retested, but it's not confirmed because we've not broken below the V point. Even though we've put in a 3-bar reversal here, we could see a move from this point downward. But this head and shoulders is not good enough. It didn't come into the tops of structure. It doesn't have a direct pole. The left shoulder isn't clearly defined enough. It looks like we're going to break to the downside, but just not enough confirmation for me. Patrick, I entered in the Euro Aussie. Notes are very delayed and mixing comments on charts. Notes are very delayed and mixing comments on charts. Oh, what on the charts that you write on? I entered on the Euro Aussie. Notes are very delayed and mixing comments on the charts. Or are you just talking about because of the delay here? So what was your entry for? What was your reason for entering, Patrick? I'm in and up 50 pips. Okay. So are you short that double? It was that double top, wasn't it? On the Euro Aussie. Let me double check. Is that what you shorted, the double top? Okay guys, we may get an entry here. It doesn't look like we're getting a double top, but if this closes as a lower low, lower close, I'm going to enter this based on that 3-bar reversal and a 15-minute lower low, lower close, playing for targets down at this point. So we've got 15 minutes to wait and we will see if this is a lower low, lower close. So we're taking a fairly aggressive approach in terms of that we're in trend here on the Aussie dollar CAD, but we have come into the highs, 3-bar reversal, RSI confirmation, and we're just going to give it a little bit more confirmation by waiting for that 15-minute lower low, lower close candle. If we don't get it, then I'm not going to enter. So I'm just going to leave that to the side for a moment. I'll just get it ready to short. Give me a second, guys. I need to open up my other charts to get it ready. Okay, so Aussie dollar CAD is there. Sorry guys, just give me a minute, will you, while I get this ready. So we're going to want stops 10 pips above the high, so that's going to be 17 for 20, 17 for 20. 8, 15 for around 20, okay. 15 for around 20 pips. Okay guys, just going back to the Aussie dollar CAD then. Can everybody see how waiting for a little bit more confirmation on this trade will only improve the chances of this going on to win? Now, if you've already entered based on the 3-bar reversal, I think it's a good opportunity. Just 3-bar reversals are not quite as good as double tops, and so I do like a little bit more confirmation. But what's happening right here, this looks like it was just a push into structure before we see the reversal and the push lower. But I've got 2 minutes to wait here. And well done, Patrick, for being 50 pips up on that trade. Where are you looking at taking targets? Are you looking at a retest of the lows, or are you looking at playing for an extension on that trade? Okay, we've got a minute to wait for the close of this candle. My stop's going to go at an ATR behind the highs plus 2 pips, so it's actually going to be 7 pips behind this level. And trading is just a waiting game sometimes. Would be nice to see a winner here. Earn back some of these pips the market has taken off us this morning and last night. Is anybody looking at getting involved in this trade? I know George, I can't remember if you're in the chat. There we go, lower, lower, lower close. Okay, so we're looking at 7 pips above the high is going to make that 14. Playing for a retest just there. Okay, 1 second guys while I take a copy of this. Okay, I'm just going to send this out as a signal. Aussie dollar CAD short, trend continuation, 3-bar reversal. Okay, let me just update the system as well, guys. So, Aussie dollar CAD, today's date, 60-minute trend continuation, 3-bar reversal, live trade, post, save, done. Okay, so we're in this trade. Just give me a yes if you guys can still hear me okay. We're in this trade. Stops have gone an ATR plus 2 behind the highs. That's given me 8 pips of risk, playing for a reward down here of 18, and I'm looking at, did we say the 61.8 fib, just above it, and just above this level of internal structure. Now we could see a far bigger move to the downside here. I'm not too confident on it though, so we'll wait and see if we can bank 18 pips. Nice 2-to-1 reward to risk on the lower time frame there, so it's a nice little opportunity. I'd love to see the new 60-minute make a lower close as well over the next 15 minutes. That would be nice. Okay, where were we up to, guys? We were on the Euro New Zealand, weren't we? Euro New Zealand, I have nothing then. I'm just waiting for the market to give me something so we can short it. We're just going to take a look at the 5. There's just nothing here. Nothing here for me. So I'm going to move that one out of the way. And we'll bring over the pound yen. You guys got anything on the pound yen? We were looking at a potential loan type flag the other day, yesterday, and I'll talk through that in a moment. So first of all, we are within the wicks here, so we could see buying pressure at any time, but we've been moving very directionally. So directional move lower, very small pullback, move lower, pullback, and now we've made a new low down here. The problem is that we are now at a psychological number, the 13400. We do not have the RSI oversold though. If we look left at any historical data, I don't have any. So let's go and take a look at the 240. And here on the 240, if you look at what's happened here, did we make a new low? Yes, we did. So right here we do have a confirmed new low, but as mentioned, we are at this psychological number. But if we look at the RSI again, we are still not oversold. So let's draw out the potential trend here on the 240. Move lower, pull back. Move lower, pull back. Move lower, pull back. And now we've had a move lower. So we've only just made a new low. We have come into a psychological number, and we've seen a big 3-bar reversal here. So I would be very concerned here at selling the market unless we had something conservative. Can you guys see why? Because we've only just made a new low by a few pips, and we have come into a psychological number, and we've got a very powerful 3-bar reversal that's occurred just here with a very big momentum candle. So if I was to get involved short, I would really be looking for a rotation pattern up in this area. But just to show you, we were looking yesterday at this potential low and tight flag. This is the way it looked, and yesterday it was like this. So we had 1, 2, 3, and there was the 4th touch. There was the entry candle. Can anybody tell me why we did not get involved with this low and tight flag? Anybody that's done the educational material, do you know the reason why? Ashraf says, was this valid as falling channel on day time frame before making new lows? Are we still talking about the pound yen? Or are we talking about the Aussie dollar CAD? No, both, it wasn't the RSI. Even handled number, exactly, yeah. In the educational material, we cannot take low and tight flags at psychological numbers, because psychological numbers very often turn out to be double tops and double bottoms. And as we go across right, what happened is we violated to the upside. So People were thinking, great, this is a double bottom, we can pull back for a 26.18, but then what happened is we actually broke to the downside, and then we've broken to the upside. So this is just consolidation. This is not anything I'm interested in, not unless we come right up to the very tops here. In fact, even if we come right up to the very tops, this isn't going to be something that I'm interested in. Yeah, Ashraf, psychological number 134 exactly. Let's go to the 15 minute. And we'll delete that information off. RSI went massively overbought here at 91. We've seen a sell-off, so we saw lots of wicks at this level, and we saw a big lower low, lower close. So an indication that we could be going lower, however, doesn't interest me because we have not come up to retest previous structure. So this could very well just have been a signal that we were about to see a small sell-off before the market continues back up to the highs. So I don't want to be selling the market now because we're not at structure. So there's no opportunity here for me on the 5. Let's go and check out, sorry, there's nothing on the 15. Let's go and check out the 5. Nothing. Let's check out the 5 range. Don't think we're going to see much on here either. But the market's just not really producing anything for me today, guys. I think I'll be having a few hours away from the charts. Oh, come on. Why have you done that? It's lost the connection again. Great. Great. Okay, guys, give me a second just while I reboot this. While I reload the charts, it's lost the connection. How's everybody's trading week gone? We've got a few traders in here that are not part of the syndicate, that are not part of the website, Free Forex Education. How's your trading week going? Yeah, we have gone over it, Cody. We've been over the Aussie dollar. Are you still looking at the double top? We did look at that. It wasn't valid for me because we'd come down into previous structure and that 7,000 psychological number. And I tell you what, guys, sometimes my memory is absolutely terrible, but sometimes it's not too bad. Yeah. So it does look valid, but for me, Cody, it's not one that I'm going to be taking. Okay, let's. I actually think that error occurs when I do the 5 range, so I'm actually just going to leave it for the time being. Okay, it's reconnecting now. I'm up 66 pips, 3 trades total this week so far, still in short dollar CAD. Yeah, well done. Well done. You're doing better than me. Doing better than me. We are short the Aussie dollar CAD, Cody, on a 3-bar reversal and a 15-minute lower low, lower close at structure in trend. It was the Aussie dollar, wasn't it, that was the double top? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Cody, just to show you on the Aussie dollar, we actually have a pattern that we're waiting for to come higher here, but on the Aussie dollar, we'd actually come into the 7,000 psychological number. We'd also come into structure there was a bit more structure just here, and even though it was a valid double top opportunity, it wasn't one that I'm personally going to go and take. So my projection is that we're going to go higher, even though we don't have any confirmation of that. So that's going to be a trade that I'm not going to take. But if you do take it, good luck to you. It is a valid opportunity. Right, we've just done the pound yen. I won't do the 5 range again because I think that's where the problem occurs. But the 5 minute, nothing on it. So we will leave that one to one side and we'll bring over the pound Aussie. And I think the pound pairs are seeing some relief at the moment. We've been very bearish on these pound pairs, and obviously at some point we were going to see some relief. And here on the pound Aussie, we have, from our highest swing, we had a move lower. In actual fact, do we have an AB equals CD pattern that comes down into the zone? Ooh, look at that. Look at that coming down into the wicks. How did I miss that? Do we have the RSI oversold? Ooh, we've got the RSI oversold on the dailies. There is also the 17700 psychological number. Is there a 1618 down there? Tell me yes. Make me happy. There's a 1618. Do we have a 786 there? Fell a bit short. Okay. There could also be, on the lower time frame, another AB equals CD pattern coming into this zone. Oh, look at that, look at that. Did we hit here for a double bottom? We have, look at that. Right here, there. We came down for the second test, right there. Okay, do we also have... Okay, that fell a bit short. Anybody looking at this, guys? Okay, there's no advanced pattern here. What would the risk on this trade be? Have we already tested that 7,700? Oh, you're joking. 130 pips plus 50 for stop loss. 150 pip risk. Well over my maximum. Well over. Damn it. Okay. I'm not looking at this because it's over my max. But you do have a valid AB equals CD pattern with a double bottom. And the pound Aussie owes us, guys. Remember the 87 pip trade? Well, we've got 87 pips up and 3 pips away from the 90 pip target. The pound Aussie owes us. This could have been what it owes us. If you are getting involved in this daily AB equals CD pattern, then you do have 350 pips to targets. But I do always say that, well, basically, just because we don't get our optimum entry doesn't mean we can't get involved with the trade. And I'm going to leave that 382 on. And we will drop to the lower time frames and look for entry reasons. So let's go down to the 240. Okay, what's going to be the first thing that I'm looking for on this trade? So here on the 240, this trade is too big to get involved with, but first of all, what's going to offer me more confirmation that this double bottom is in fact valid? Let me know. Pete, yeah, it's a very good question. Why not reduce position size? I actually have 4 different accounts, 3 accounts that I use on a regular basis. The 4th one I use for swing trading, and I do, for long-term trades, use that for situations like this where you reduce position size. However, what can happen is, let's say, okay, we've got 350 pips to go to this point, don't we? within this fairly directional move, I may be able to catch several hundred pips while the market does this. And that's if it goes on to win. Okay, if it doesn't, and it only comes up to the structure points and gives me a 26.18 entry or a head and shoulders, I can then short the market. But if I'm in this for one position, and this is on the 240, so this may take a week, maybe a week to go and hit targets. During that week, it could have been the week that produced 3 or 4 big winning trades for me, and it could actually cost me more in missed pips. So if you've only got one trading account, I would suggest have a minimum of 2 so that you can enter longer term trades like this, and you can still then be in your normal account in your normal day trading, normal day trades. But yeah, it's a fair point, but that's the reason why. And again, if I was to reduce position size on this, what it technically means is that 350 pips isn't going to be 350 pips. I might have to reduce a position size by 3.5 times the amount, which actually means this trade is only worth 100 pips. And I could actually earn more just waiting for the trend and waiting for entry reasons. And so my suggestion is you always have more than one account. I've got several. I've got joint ones with the wife as well, which helps. But yeah, a valid AB equals CD pattern here with a double bottom. So tell me, guys, what am I going to be looking for here to give me confirmation that this is a confirmed double bottom? I'm just going to catch up with the chat. RSI divergence. Yeah, we've got the RSI divergence massively oversold with a huge amount of divergence there. Cody, higher high, higher close. Yeah, we're looking for a violation above this point. So we're looking for the market to physically close above the top, look for a pullback for a 26.18. Once that happens, if that happens, there's the 618. Tell me what I can do next. Okay, because this trade is too big for me to enter and have my stop below here. So what can I do next where I can still look at getting involved with the trade at the 618, but with a reduced amount of risk? What can I look for? Do I stay on this time frame? Do I drop the time frame? Do I look for a rotation pattern? If I drop down to the 60 and we see that pullback into that 61.8, which is right here, in fact just a little bit lower, we have that 7700 psychological number. If this comes in at any form of structure looking left, or even a 3-bar reversal, anything that we can use to get involved with at this area where we can get protective stops behind, then I'll look at getting involved with the trade, and the risk can be reduced to something like 25 pips. But yet my first target will likely be a retest of the highs, and my second target I will then hold. I will then hold for a complete retest. So that's what we're going to be waiting for on the pound Aussie. Going to be waiting for the double bottom to be confirmed, the 26.18, then we're going to be dropping down the time frames, and at that point we know we can be a little bit more aggressive because we've had the confirmation. Let's go and check out the 15. Here on the 15 there was a winning pattern this morning. It did not provide an entry for me, and from that point we rallied straight up. But what do you like about that rally? I like that we have a nice swing in the market. We've got a directional move, and it may or may not be, we'll know in a few minutes, turn out to be a flag pattern. Let's take a look at the 5. I would expect us to break to the upside here with that double bottom though. You got a valid double top up here, but again the structure level it's coming to is here, and my bigger projection is we're going to go higher. So even though this was a valid double top and we're pulling back for a 26.18, I'm not interested in selling the market because bigger projection is we're going to break through. So wouldn't be one for me. Any questions on the pound Aussie, guys? Drop down to 60 minute double bottom of the 61.8 with potential with structure high will reduce risk. Exactly, Cody, exactly. So we are going to wait. We're going to wait. The trade is on the 240 because remember the AB equals CD pattern is on the dailies, so when we drop one time frame lower and look for the double bottom, we need the 240 to violate and pull back. So this is going to be as a minimum tonight, maybe even running into tomorrow, looking for that violation and pullback. Let's take a look at the euro dollar, guys. That trade won in the end. That double bottom did turn out to be a double bottom, though it was not one we could trade because it did not come down into structure. Let's start off on the higher time frame, and if you've got anything on here, please let me know. What I see here is a move lower and the market adhering to this lower level of structure. However, it has happened at the 112 psychological number, so this is not going to be a low and tight flag for me. Second of all, we did not actually come down to test the closes of these candles. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen here. We may put in a low and tight flag. We may just rally all the way back up to here. We may put in a triangle. All of which I won't be able to get involved with unless it gives me a conservative entry up here. So let's drop down the time frames to the 240. On the 240, we've come into these wicks just here. Let's drop down to the 60. And what are we doing now, guys? We're just hugging that resistance area, and we've put in a lower low, lower close candle. There is no double top here for me though, so no shorting opportunities. Check out the 15. Was a head and shoulders here. There's the left shoulder. Head. Right shoulder. Break to the downside. Head and shoulders. Head and shoulders, I'm waiting for head and shoulders to pick up. I've seen 3 or 4 winners now over the past few weeks, none of which I've been able to get involved with, and head and shoulders just isn't producing for me. I think I'm up 36 pips in the last 2 months. Breakout patterns is really what's been pushing the bank balance the right way. But this is played out now. You know, there's nothing here now for me on the euro dollar. Anybody got anything on this currency pair? This is another one where we're just going to sit and wait. Pound dollar. Oh, look at that. Aussie dollar CAD. It's going to pip into profit. Only 17 more to go. Okay, pound dollar on the dailies. Pete's put Euro Aussie starting to roll. Euro Aussie starting to roll. Yeah, we didn't get the pullback though, Pete. Sorry, the confirmed break below, close below. So if you look here, this highlighted area here is our outside return, and for us to be in trend, we needed a confirmed violation of this point, and we didn't. All we got was wicks. So if we see a pullback now, the trade is going to be null and void. So there's no trend continuation here. So we'll wait. We still might get the break to the downside and still look for a pullback before we get to our projected targets. Yeah, let's move it out of the way. So pound dollar. Okay, structure level on at the very low of this wick. We held structure. We also came into the 12400 psychological number, And just to draw out the trend, we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, but no more trend continuation because we have reached the destination. Okay, we are not projecting price at this point to go any lower because price held structure. And right now we're looking at the market retracing. Now what I would say is that this is a major level of structure right here. So if it gives us a valid shorting opportunity, maybe up here, we can look for targets at a retest of this level or at a push, a retest of the very lows. So let's drop to the 240 and take a look. On the 240 as well, look guys, we held structure. Yeah, we held it on the daily and the 240. When you have more than one time frame holding a structure level, it's just more confirmation, isn't it? Here on the 240, what have we had? So we had the move lower, the pullback, the move lower. I'm going to include that, the pullback, the move lower, the pullback, the move lower. Then we came up to this point, which was not a valid double top. It was invalid. But I tell you what we could be setting up here. It's going to be very ugly. What we could be looking at are head and shoulders. Could be looking at head and shoulders. Let's go and take a look at the 60. Does this AB equals CD pattern come in at a psychological number? Yes, it does. Does it come in at structure? Little couple of tests here, a decent test there. Let's look left for some more structure. Nope, 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 violated there. And it doesn't look as though, okay, we do have a test here, a minor test there. Another test here. We're going historic now, but then we do have a few tests here as well. So it is an area that has been respected in the past. It is an AB equals CD pattern. It has come into structure. We do have a little bit of recent structure, but what I like most is that we did come into a psychological number here. The RSI has tipped overbought, but yet we haven't quite reached the destination yet, guys, have we? Is there any fib confluence? May get a 1618 up there. Yeah, just a little bit beyond that level. So we can drop one time frame lower and look for a double top or a rotation pattern, can't we, guys? Let's drop to the 15. So we're going to wait for this level to be tested, give us a double top or a head and shoulders, and then we'll look for fib targets. In this situation, you could actually look for two targets here, the 38.2 and the 61.8. I'd have to reanalyze it again to see if it's something I'm happy with. But if we do get double top up here, there's a potential 40 pips up for grabs there on that AB equals CD pattern. Anything on the pound dollar, guys? If not, we will crack on. New Zealand yen. I don't have anything on the New Zealand yen. We had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a move higher. So we've moved higher here and we've violated here. So this is just consolidation. Does look as though that we're putting in a double top right now, but if you go and check historically, even though we have the RSI confirmation, so we went overbought with divergence, when we look to see if there's any structure looking left, you guys see that we did not hold structure in any way. So this looks like a double top, but it is not. It is not valid. In fact, I would expect price to violate this level now. So let's go and look at the 240. Okay, price has pretty much come into the highs here. So even though it looks as though we're trending quite nicely, in fact I'll do this on the 60 because we can see it cleaner. Even though we've been trending quite nicely here, and we're right back down within these lows just here, we have already reached our destination. Does everybody agree that we have now come into the highs of structure and we would not be looking for trend continuation anymore? What we could look for is we could see the market come back down, as we are doing right now, into the wicks just here, and you could look for a double bottom and play for, as a minimum, this left shoulder or even a retest, but certainly no higher because the market has not confirmed that. Yep, Marcus, no trend continuation anymore. Here on the 60, the double bottom isn't valid because we don't have the RSI confirmation, so not even a double bottom. Pound yen, got our double, Cody says, got our double top on pound yen 15 minute right at the 34.50 psychological number. Pound yen. Yeah, this was again, this wasn't something I was looking at. If we look left, it didn't come in at any type of structure level, and it's not a double top I would be interested in. So there's nothing there for me on that time frame. On the 15, if we put a structure level on between the close of the candles and the wicks, we failed to put the double top in at the top of structure, and it did come in at this level here, but it's not a level that I would be interested in. So it's not going to be one for me. If I was to get involved, I'd wait for 26.18. Just keeping an eye on the Euro New Zealand, it's still pushing lower. Just bring it over so you guys can see. The ugly head and shoulders I spoke about, and I said it looks as though we could break to the downside. Well, we're breaking to the downside. A lot of the time we just got to wait and watch and see trades go in and hit targets without us. Let's go and check out the 15 on the New Zealand yen. And if it's okay with everybody, guys, I'm just going to crack on and do these last few currency pairs, and we'll call it a day. There isn't that much out there. Pound Aussie looks tasty, but going to have to wait for confirmation on that one. And we're in the Aussie dollar CAD, so. New Zealand yen on the 15, nothing. No potential double bottom, no potential head and shoulders, nothing. New Zealand dollar, I had nothing on this either. Let's go and do the dailies. If you got anything on this one, let me know, guys. Okay, no VS1. There we go. Okay, so what did we do? We had this double bottom. We violated to the upside. We had the market that came back for a classic 26.18 trade, just tapped to the 61.8. And what we're doing now is it looks like we're going to violate this level. So this is the very highs, but we do not get the confirmed violation until when, guys? Throw it in the chat. Do we get it when we close above this level or when we close above these wicks? I'm going to put another structure level on, and I'm going to make that one yellow. Which one do we need to violate? Which one do we need to close above to have a confirmed violation? Is it the blue or is it the yellow? Aussie dollar CAD, 2 pips up. We're making money. It's all about the money, money, money. We don't care about the honeys, honeys, honeys. Which one do we need? Blue or yellow? Blue or yellow? Which one, guys? The yellow one. The yellow one is what we need for a confirmed violation. It will give us an indication that we're going to go higher. Where could we go to? Well, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult. X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. Looks like we have an AB equals CD pattern in there as well. Falling short though of the completion of the bat. Let's go and take a look at the 240. Okay, on the 240, you do have the violation here. So if we read price action, price came up to this point, didn't violate here, but then when we pulled back and moved higher, we now have a violation with this. So if you're aggressive, you could look for long opportunities in this zone. Let's drop down to the 60. And what do we have on the 60? Well, we've currently retested. We've failed to break higher. We could, maybe on the 15, this looks a little bit nicer. We could have a triangle on the 15. Let's go and check it out. So we're looking for a swing in the market. Well, we don't really get that lovely V-point swing that we're looking for. On the 15, there's a big gap here, which I would have preferred to have been filled. And if we draw it out in the closes of the candles, it's not providing us that that classic setup that we look for when we look for triangles. Could be on the 60, but it doesn't look very nice, does it, guys? So nothing here for me on the New Zealand dollar. Dollar yen, and we'll make this one the last currency pair. We'll go up to the dailies. Yeah, there just isn't a great deal out there, guys. There might be something later. You never know. Still hoping that we're going to get the dollar CAD win. Sarah, you still in it? I'm still in it. Is it 23 pips it's worth? Something like that. That 23 and the 18 from the Aussie dollar CAD. That'll do. That'll do. That'll get me back up to about 50 or 60 pips, I think. Dollar yen on the dailies. Yeah, he's still in it. We haven't violated structure, have we? In fact, we had the breakout of the channel to the downside, so it's still valid. Dollar yen on the dailies. So move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back. We have now violated this here, physically closed above this level, meaning we are no longer in trend, and we do not want to be looking for trend continuation. So let's drop down to the 240. And this is ugly, but it does look like we have a cipher pattern setting up. No, correction, we fell short of it, no cipher. We do have a back pattern though. You're looking at this, Sarah. X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. Lovely completion point actually. It comes in right to that 107 psychological number. But when we look at structure, there's going to be nothing here for me because we had the move lower then we saw a pullback, and yes, we no we didn't, sorry, we did not make a new low. Then we saw a pullback, but here we did make a new low, but we have now come into the structure level here, guys. So this is just consolidation. There's going to be nothing here for me on the dollar yen. Let's check out the 60. And in actual fact, we double bottomed. In actual fact, I don't think it's valid because the first test didn't. Let me double check it. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's not a valid double bottom for me because the first test did not come into the price reversal zone. So that is not going to be a valid double bottom for me. And I do believe there is a little bit of room here to go to the downside. And you could look at a swing in the market and a directional move. Duplicate it, move it up. Okay. So the problem I have with this low and tight flag is, what's the problem with it? Well, I don't like the look of it for starters, but that shouldn't stop me from taking the trade. Now we have just double topped up here, but there is no RSI confirmation. Did it come into previous structure, which is here? No, it did not. If we look left, well, it's a potential, guys. It's a potential that we could see a move lower here, but it's quite ugly. And what we have done is we tend to see these patterns typically where the closes of the candles are just here. We tend to see the market hold, but what we did was we had a big spike and then we closed within the spike, so that technically is not a violation. But when I look at these and I have to do this and I could see that we closed within the wicks, it's a lower probability for me. So I don't know what's going to happen here. You got a nice retest, but if this is valid for you, then swing low to swing high. You'll be looking for that 127. You got a very nice entry right now with that lower close and retest. Stops just 5 pips above the high, making it 83. And targets are going to be down here. You're going to front run by 2 pips. We'll make that one green. Yeah, we don't have the RSI confirmation. Just let me drop to the 5. Take another look at this. Look at this. This is good to see. See the test here. We held. We held. We held. We held. We've actually held on the 5, so more confirmation. There goes the break. There goes the breakout on the Euro New Zealand, guys. But for me, this is then a lower probability trade. Just let me check out what that alert was. That was an alert for one of my trades. Let's have a look. EuroCAD. Okay. EuroCAD. I'll go and take a look at the EuroCAD in a moment. Euro Aussie as well, guys. We got the breakout to the downside. You can see we almost hit targets. Of course, if we were in it, we would have almost hit targets. Right here, look at this. Was it the Euro? Sorry, the Euro Aussie that I'm on. Was it the Euro Aussie where I said, look at the tombstone doji? Give me a yes, guys. Make sure that I'm not going bonkers. And I said to you, you can come back in a few hours. It was this one because I put a structure level on here. I said you can come back in a few hours or the day after, and that tombstone doji, they will correct the price. You see that? That's happened. Just catching up with the chat now, guys. We're just seeing a little bit of movement here within the markets. Marcus went short earlier on the low and tight flag. Was that on the dollar yen? Still in that same Marcus. Hyder, welcome Hyder. I have registered online but won't let me log in for some reason. Okay, 1 second. Why will it not let you log in? It would have sent you an authorization code. Did you put in your correct mobile number? Right, sorry guys, didn't want you to see that. Yeah, I've got no confirmation here that you've registered. I get confirmation when you've registered. If you go online, you can submit the whatever error you're getting. Oh, it says invalid email address. Okay, is the email address you're inputting valid? Not to ask a silly question, but is it valid what you're inputting? Because you input your first name, surname, correct mobile number, because you'll get an authorization text and a valid email address. Because when we send you alerts and details of webinars and things, it needs to be valid. If not, Hyder, if you want to go ahead and you can just submit, go to the contact us section and just submit a screenshot of it, and we'll take a look at it for you. And I'll just go over to the system at the moment and have a quick look for you as well. So just give me a second, guys, if you will. Yeah, I've got nothing here, Hyder. If it won't let you submit it because the email address is invalid, try a different email address. Yeah, we're seeing a rally, aren't we? We're seeing a rally. We're seeing the Euro Aussie play out as we expected. We are seeing the Euro New Zealand play out as expected. At least give me one where I was wrong, make me feel better. What else are we seeing? Pound dollar, nope, we're not seeing any movement there. Nope, no movement there. Pound dollar, yeah, we're seeing the pound dollar move as well. Seeing a drop off on that point. Well, we did look at this, didn't we? We did say that we come into this area here and we dropped down to the 15, and we said that we saw this head and shoulders, if you remember, guys. But there was no opportunities here for us now, and we're just seeing the market fall away. So it's good to see a bit of movement anyway, because the markets were dead. They just weren't producing anything. I don't know what's caused it. But pound yen, Cody, if you're in that, you've got a structure hold right there for you, if that's a valid trade that you're in. But yeah, I have nothing else, guys. 2 pips up on the Aussie dollar CAD. Cody, yeah, what happened to euro dollar? Both the kids are sick, going to be a rough one today. Oh, I feel you, Cody. Mine are 13 and 10 now, so you know, they don't get sick like babies do. Marcus, Euro News, ECB said to be studying potential revamp of inflation goal was the trigger. Well, there we go. That's the reason for the move. And we'll see if that move produces any entries, because we're still looking to short the Euro New Zealand, still looking to short the Euro Aussie, still looking to short the Euro Yen. That was another one, so I've just deleted that. Damn it. But we're still looking at shorting the Euro Yen as well, guys. So we will hold for those potential entries, and we will wait and see how big these rallies are going to be. So Hyder, yeah, just bob us an email with your email address and we'll take a look at it for you, get you registered on the system. Registration is free. And if there's no other currency pairs to look at, guys, I wish you well. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next webinar.